Yeah, it's perfect. My seat, my custom dolly to alignment, spacer to foam. Anyway, everyone, welcome back to another video where we are gonna be working on the all-wheel drive Miata yet again. In the last video, we got the front suspension, the engine, everything all finished. It's sitting on its own weight now. Up and down, bouncy, bouncy, yay, yay. And so with that, the front is finished. It's not actually 100% done, but structurally it's done and everything is good for now. In this video, we're gonna be working on the rear of the car. So, you might be asking yourself, Caleb, why aren't you just using the Miata differential and the Miata rear suspension? It's rear-wheel drive, so just use that stuff, right? Well, the problem is that the diff ratio has to be the exact same as it is in the WRX, because if you have the wrong diff ratio, the moment you try to drive it, your rear wheels will try to spin a different rate than your front wheels, and you'll blow up your transmission. So instead of trying to get some custom ring and pinion for the Miata diff to match it to the WRX diff and maybe still have issues, we're just gonna be putting the WRX diff in the Miata. So here is the WRX diff, very heavy. It's a kind of weird diff. It's very long and very skinny, but it should be pretty easy to mount. It's just those two bolt holes up top right there. The Miata subframe is pretty modifiable. There's good locations for us to build a mount off of, so we'll mount that in there. Then we'll fab up really crappy driveline to test stuff with, not to drive on, because obviously I can't balance it properly. And then we're ready to wire the car up, do the steering, do blah, 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 blah. We're ready to do a lot of other stuff. So let's get this diff in here and let's see all four wheels spin. And real quick, I'd like to thank this build sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com is an awesome website that can help you guys save thousands of dollars on new or used vehicles. So if you're interested in purchasing a vehicle, check them out. Peace. Right there is right about where we want the diff to go. We'll be able to fabricate something that connects the subframe to those rear bolts right there, and the front of the subframe to those front bolts right there. And yes, this subframe is rusty, but once we get this mount made, we'll have it sandblasted and powder coated, and that will be all good. That was pretty gross. It's already covered in dirt. Ugh.
I'm gonna record some ambience and put it in this track.
Diff is almost in the right spot. We had to bang in the gas tank and notch that one little mount in order to get it to fit around that. The back part is fitting, but right here, it is hitting the Miata subframe. So we're gonna go ahead and notch the Miata subframe there, and then we can weld in that back mount, beef it up, and make a front mount from there to there. There's mud in the subframe. Once you go railing Miata, you never go back. But that should be enough. Shouldn't really compromise any structural anything. And so let's try to get the diff in here.
Record some ambience and put it in the track.
Diff is in here perfectly level. Come up front, just barely clears the gas tank and perfectly clears that little notch we cut. Kind of looks like it's hitting, but I promise you it is not. Next step is to go ahead and tack that in. So I made this little here plate that lines up with those two bolt holes. So I'll bolt that to the diff, and then we need to make some sort of plate that goes from that plate to the subframe. I'm gonna use some cardboard for this.
Explain something.
The WRX Diff is now officially in there. Front mount is done, rear mount is done. I'm gonna beef the front mount up a little bit, but I can't do that until the diff is back out. You may have noticed I didn't use any bushings. That's correct, it's solid mounted, #racecar. Now that diff is in there, we're gonna make some sketchy driveline components. I'm gonna make a drive shaft, gonna make some axles for two reasons. Number one, I want to see all four wheels spin, of course. And number two, it will help us get measurements and send all the information to a drive shaft shop. Say that 5 times really fast. Drive shaft. So then they can make a legit drive shaft that's balanced and some legit axles that are balanced and all that kind of stuff. I'll shorten the stock WRX drive shaft so it works, and then I will put the Miata axles and the Miata hubs, the Subaru axles in the diff, cut them and weld them into one piece. Drive shaft, baby. Woo. These are the Subaru axles. These are the Miata axles. We're gonna take the diff portion of the Subaru axles. We're gonna take the hub portion of the Miata axles. We're gonna cut them, we're gonna weld them, and then we're gonna sleeve them. And that will be enough just to measure. That will be enough to drive on it at very low speeds. Progress. Diff is in, axles are in, drive shaft's in, and when you spin the drive shaft, the wheels spin nice and freely. Everything there is working great. Now, even though everything is connected right now, the front wheels aren't spinning because the transmission is in neutral. So we have to put the transmission in gear. In order to put it in gear, we have to get the shifter linkage. We have to get it working. We have to extend it a little bit too, because if we just use the stock linkage, it's gonna be way far forward. You're gonna have to reach every time you shift, which would be kind of fun, but no, get the chopping. Yeah, it's working.
Hell yeah, it is.
That was a great shot. So now all I have to do is make a mount that connects this back bushing to something, and look at this. It's like it's meant to be. Those bolt holes just line up. So I'll just use like a little L bracket that bolts to this, and then we'll have our completed shifter. All-wheel drive launches right here. Maybe I'll leave this top linkage exposed too. All right, moment of truth. Do all 4 wheels spin when the engine is turned over? Transmission is in first gear with that new shifter, which looks awesome, by the way. Let's test it out. You're gonna have to look closely at that rear wheel to see if it's moving or not. Front wheels are moving. Can't see. Rear wheels are moving, boys! I'm gonna turn it over for like 2 minutes, Pasha, condense it so you can see the wheels moving fast. Like it looks like it's running. I only did it for like 15 seconds. I got bored, but hopefully you get the point. When the engine turns over, while it's connected to the transmission, all 4 wheels spin. It's an all-wheel drive Miata now. Well, ladies and gents, with that being said, that's gonna be it for this video. The entire drivetrain is done, at least for driving it around the parking lot, for testing. We'll obviously, have a shop make a real drive shaft and real axles, but it's done. Shifter linkage works, all 4 wheels spin. It's an all-wheel drive Miata. This is awesome. All we have left to do, steering, wiring, which is just transferring the wiring harness from the WRX into the Miata, cooling, which will be in depth because we're putting the radiator in the back, and brakes, so just brake lines and bleeding brakes and a clutch line and stuff. But that's it. Then this thing is driving. It's gonna be like 2 weeks, a week and a half, maybe. This is insane. We're gonna need a lot of parts before then and all that. In case you guys haven't figured out, my plan for this build is to get it running and driving as is, make sure everything's working, and then tear it all back down to a bare shell, get the shell sandblasted, undercoated, get the exterior painted, fix all the rust, and do all that stuff. Paint all the suspension bits, get whatever new bushings and stuff we want to get, do all that. But we want to make sure it's running and driving before we paint it, because we paint it and oh shoot, I need to add a tab for this cooler, so I have to grind down the paint and weld something, yada yada yada. Point is, we're getting close to being able to test drive this thing, which is insane. It's gone so quickly. That's the cool thing about being able to do stuff yourself, myself, which makes me so happy. It goes so much quicker because I don't have to rely on anyone else. I just get it done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Thank you all for the support. It's been incredible. Support on Patreon is unreal, which of course, if you want to see the next video right now, you can head over to Patreon and see it. I also want to support some companies like HTP. Yay, yay. Huge thank you to HTP USA Weld. None of this would be possible without their awesome welders. If you guys want welders or welding equipment, a new gun for your welder, if you want any welding, anything, go check them out. There's a link in the description for that. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone. Have a great day. Peace out. Bye-bye.